Have you ever wondered what would happen if the person everyone ignored turned out to be the one holding everything together? Imagine giving your whole heart to a job, sacrificing sleep, missing family dinners, and working quietly behind the scenes, only to be told you were no longer needed. But sometimes, life has a way of revealing the truth when it's too late to take back a cruel decision. Tonight's story is about a single father, a hidden facility, and one unforgettable night that proved kindness is far more powerful than any security system. What happened after he walked away shocked everyone. The people who dismissed him discovered that machines can follow commands, but only a kind heart can truly keep things running. Stay with us until the very end because this story carries a lesson that could change the way you see the people around you. Before we begin, if you enjoy inspiring stories about hope, kindness, and second chances, please take a moment to subscribe to Bekindleways, like this video, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world kindness still matters. Ethan Parker was a quiet man who rarely complained. Every morning before sunrise, he packed breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter Lily, braided her hair as best as he could, dropped her off at school, and then drove to work at a government research facility hidden deep outside the city. Very few people even knew the place existed. Officially, Ethan was only listed as a maintenance technician. His badge didn't carry an impressive title, and his office was nothing more than a small room filled with tools and repair manuals. Most employees barely noticed him as they hurried past with important meetings and expensive suits. But what nobody understood was that Ethan knew the building better than anyone else. He had worked there for 12 years. Every strange sound from an air vent, every blinking light on a control panel, every tiny warning signal that others ignored, he knew them all. While engineers trusted computers, Ethan trusted experience. He treated every machine with patience and every coworker with respect. Whenever someone spilled coffee in the break room, Ethan quietly cleaned it before anyone asked. If a new employee looked lost, he stopped his work to help them find their department. During snowstorms, he arrived early to make sure the heating system was working so everyone else could stay warm. Most people never thanked him. One Monday morning, the facility welcomed a new director named Victoria Langston. She believed in cutting costs and increasing efficiency. Within days, she ordered reviews of every department. When she looked at Ethan's file, she frowned. A maintenance worker making this salary, she asked during a meeting. One manager tried to explain. Ethan does much more than maintenance. Victoria interrupted. If his work is so important, it should already be documented. We don't pay people based on stories. Nobody argued after that. The following Friday, Ethan was called into her office. Victoria slid an envelope across the desk. "We're restructuring," she said without looking him in the eyes. "Your position has been eliminated." Ethan stared at the paper for several seconds. "I understand," he finally whispered. He didn't beg. He didn't argue. He simply thanked her for the opportunity, picked up his backpack, and walked out of the building with tears filling his eyes. That evening, Lily noticed something was wrong. "Dad, are you sick?" Ethan forced a smile. "No, sweetheart. We're just going to have a little adventure while I look for another job." She hugged him tightly. "We'll be okay." Those simple words gave him strength. Meanwhile, back at the facility, everything seemed normal. Until midnight. Without warning, security doors locked throughout the complex. Communication systems froze. Backup generators refused to synchronize. The main computer displayed one frightening message. Manual safety sequence required. The engineers rushed to their stations. Nobody knew what to do. The emergency manuals were searched. Nothing worked. Hours passed. Millions of dollars of sensitive equipment sat trapped behind sealed doors. Victoria demanded answers. Finally, an older supervisor quietly spoke. Ethan used to perform the manual safety sequence every month. Victoria looked confused. I've never heard of that. Because he never asked for recognition, the supervisor replied. He simply did it. Silence filled the room. Someone found Ethan's phone number. Victoria hesitated before calling. When Ethan answered, she expected anger. Instead, she heard kindness. Is everyone safe? He asked before anything else. She swallowed hard. Yes, but we need your help. Ethan looked at Lily sleeping on the couch beside him. I'll be there. Less than 40 minutes later, he walked back into the facility he had been forced to leave. Nobody cheered. Nobody spoke. They simply watched. Ethan calmly walked through several hallways until he reached an old mechanical control room that newer employees didn't even know existed. He opened a locked cabinet. Inside was a hand-operated control system designed decades earlier in case computers ever failed. One by one, Ethan adjusted pressure valves, reset mechanical switches, and carefully restarted each system in the correct order. Nothing happened for several long seconds. Then lights slowly returned. Doors unlocked. Monitors came back online. The entire building breathed back to life. The room erupted with applause. Victoria stood frozen. She finally understood that experience, loyalty, and quiet dedication couldn't be measured on a spreadsheet. She walked toward Ethan. I'm sorry, she said with tears in her eyes. I judged your value without ever taking the time to know you. Ethan smiled gently. We all make mistakes. She offered him his job back immediately, along with a promotion. Everyone waited for his answer. Ethan looked around at the people he had served for so many years. Then he thought about Lily. I'll come back, he said softly, but only if we start treating every person here with respect. The janitors, security guards, cafeteria workers, technicians, everyone matters. Victoria nodded. You have my word. Over the next year, the facility changed. Employees began learning each other's names. Management invited maintenance staff into important planning meetings. Recognition programs celebrated kindness instead of only performance numbers. New workers were taught that every job mattered because every person mattered. Ethan became more than a technician. He became a mentor. He taught young employees that fixing machines was easy compared to caring for people. At home, Lily watched her father smile more often. One evening she asked, Dad, why did you help people who treated you unfairly? Ethan looked out the window before answering. Because kindness isn't something we give only to people who deserve it. Kindness is who we choose to become. Years later, that lesson stayed with everyone who heard it. The facility became known not only for its advanced technology but also for the culture of respect that grew from one man's compassion. Visitors often wondered what caused such a remarkable change. The employees would simply smile. They knew it had started with a single father who refused to let bitterness replace kindness. Sometimes the strongest people aren't the loudest. They're the ones who quietly carry responsibility without expecting applause. They help others when no one is watching. They forgive when revenge would be easier. And in the end, their kindness becomes the foundation that holds everything together. If this story touched your heart, remember that someone in your life may be carrying invisible burdens while still showing up with a smile. A simple thank you, a kind word, or a moment of understanding can change someone's entire day. Never underestimate the value of the people who work quietly behind the scenes, because they may be the very ones holding everything together. Until next time, keep believing in hope, choose compassion whenever you can, and never stop spreading kindness. The smallest act of kindness today could become someone else's miracle tomorrow.